Hello, everyone. This is John S. Rhodes of the Rhodes Brothers, and this is Greater Wealth Through Mastery. The topic of today's short talk is value is hidden. Now, what I'm talking about is when we are thinking about looking at and considering making a purchase, the value is often hidden to us. And in fact, the value is hidden as well to the content creator, to the product creator, to the service provider. Now, that seems very strange, but what happens here is that when someone creates a product, they are working on the features. They're working on the parameters. They're working with various materials, and they're putting these pieces and parts together almost as if they're using some kind of blueprint or there's a plan and they build it, they put it together. You might have things like training modules. You might have pieces and parts you bring together so that you have a final product that you deliver to the market. And when you're doing that as a content creator, product creator, service provider, you're very much thinking about hitting certain numbers, maybe a certain length, like a video needs to be this long. I need to touch on or discuss or explain this particular topic. So what's happening is that we're thinking about the features and maybe the functionality, what it does. The next level beyond that is thinking about the benefits. Now, the more savvy marketers are going to realize, well, that's obvious. Of course, we care about the benefits, the net benefits to the consumer, to the person who's making the investment, the person who's buying. Now, you've been on probably both sides of this. You've certainly bought things in your life, and when you're buying something, you do look at the features and the functionality, and you start to think about the benefits. Very, very important. So the features might be, let's say we're talking about a brand new vehicle, and I'll talk more about vehicles in a moment because I have a very good story for you, a very good example. So stick with me because the story is very, very valuable. But in any event, when you're looking at something like a vehicle, you're looking at things like the size and the shape. You're thinking about the color. You're looking at the number of seats. Is it a hybrid? Is it all electric? Is it, an ICE machine, right? Internal combustion engine running on nothing but gasoline. So very interesting when you think about the pieces and the parts. And then, of course, there's the brand. And we can start to think about how the vehicle is going to be used. Do you have children or not? Do you need the extra cargo space? Do you go out in the wild? In other words, do you go camping and do you need the space in the back? Are you into fishing? Do you golf, right? So the activities that you're engaged in, involved in, and that includes things that you do, but also your family and so on. So now we're talking about the features and functionality, but also the benefits and the usage or the utilization of the vehicle. So we're talking about what the value is to you. You know what the value is. Now, here's what's so interesting and that you need to realize, especially if you're a small business person, entrepreneur, freelancer, is it's not so much the features and functionality or even what you would consider that net benefit or what you think is the value. That's not the actual value. What the value is an emotional component, how it makes you feel. Certainly, the other pieces and parts need to be handled and considered. It's very, very important that if something says it's 6 foot long, that it's actually 6 feet long, right? If it's 30 feet long and it's supposed to be 6, well, that's a violation of expectations. That's no good. It doesn't work. No one benefits from something like that. It's basically a falsehood, an outright lie. But that's where value is really coming from. It's the emotional component to whatever it is that you're buying or what you're selling. And a good salesperson will definitely spend a little time on the features and functionality, a little time. They'll spend way more time on the benefits to the buyer, to the consumer, way more time. But the very, very best world class marketers and salespeople will spend the preponderance of time on the emotional component. One way to make a sale of a vehicle to a mom and pop, right, to a husband and wife, let's say, that go in shopping for a car, would be to tug on the emotional heartstrings related to the safety of the vehicle, especially if that couple happens to have some children. Oh, this is a very safe vehicle. You can feel great that your kids are safe in the back. Then you can mention things like the 5-star crash rating and the test dummies, and you can bring in some of the facts and figures. The metal sidewall, the airbag functionality. You can sort of talk about that, and the guys tend to resonate with that more than the women. Just saying, that's generally the case. And the women are going to be like, whoa, the safety of my babies, right? So that's what's so powerful is when you do that, you can see that the value is not in the airbag. The value is not in the airbag. The value is in the safety, specifically the safety to the child, specifically even more than that, the safety of that woman's child. That's the hidden value. It's not the reinforced metal. It's not the airbag. It is that specific feature. That's what really is the emotional component that will get that woman to buy, to talk to her husband about it. And the husband, of course, will go, well, the facts and figures match up. That makes sense. Airbags all around, of course. And he'll start to rationalize as well the female very often, right? So I'm not trying to stereotype too much, but that's what I've seen in the past, and these are the kind of things that work. And it's just one example. I mean, I'm sure you've seen it the other way around in your life with other things as well. Now, that being said, that's the hidden value, the emotional component. Now, thank you for sticking with me because there is a story I want to share with you. And one of the reasons why I was thinking about cars and I was talking about cars is I was recently car shopping. Now, it happens to be, kind of fast forwarding, that I ended up talking with a car salesman. And I happened to ask him, I said, hey, is it still the case when people are selling their cars or when you're buying cars from someone or it's a trade in, that the value is very high with Japanese cars, as an example, like the Honda, the Toyota? I just threw a couple of examples out there. And he says, oh, yes, absolutely. I said, wow, because of the quality. He goes, yeah, that's right. And he kind of left it at that. And I said, well, any other cars or vehicles that hold their value? And he said, well, yes. He goes, the Jeep Wrangler. And I said, or asked, the Jeep Wrangler? And I said it like that. It was a question. And I think the Jeep Cherokee, but definitely the Jeep Wrangler. Now, this goes against what I know and what I've heard for years. And it was that Jeep quality of the vehicle was not so hot, average or below average. Now, I know that they're cool cars or cool vehicles and they're fun and you can use them for off-roading for real and you can modify them and they appeal to many different demographics for a variety of reasons. But I didn't think the resale value was high and that the quality was an issue. Here is the hidden value. Now, it's not an emotional hidden value, but it's similar. It's a true hidden value in terms of features and functionality. What it comes down to is that the Jeep engine is highly prized. The Jeep engine. Now, again, it's modifiable. There's lots of things you can do with the Jeep that are great for people that like to manipulate and update and put swag into the car and so on. There's just a lot you can do. There's a lot of versatility, we'll put it that way. Okay, so, and there's also people that just love their Jeeps. That's like a cult, all right? So if you have a Jeep, let me know if you're in the Jeep cult and why you're in it. So do that in the comments below. But the key here is that the hidden value here truly is the Jeep engine. That's why the resale value is so high. But I did press on the salesman. And what I had asked and what I was talking about was related to the emotional appeal of a Jeep. And many people are extremely loyal to the Jeep brand, but in particular, the old school style of Jeep Wranglers. And it's that emotional appeal to the features and functionality and versatility combined with the quality of the engine. That's the hidden value. You never know what the hidden value is of your products, even what you do. If you have your own business, if you freelance, if you consult, any of that, even what you do if you work for someone, even if it's part time, full time, it doesn't matter. You don't really know the value until you start to ask, until you start to not just contemplate, but look at what you're doing for the company. For example, many people who are closer to the customer are going to make more money. And on the surface, that might not make sense. It's like, well, wait a minute, why would someone closer to the customer make more money? And the reason for that is that sales can be difficult. A lot of people don't want to do sales. Also, just because it is what it is, those people that are making sales are literally bringing in sales. They're bringing in the revenue for the company. And if the company isn't pulling in money, generating that revenue, if they're not making money, then all the value in the world is not realized. It's not recognized. It doesn't come into the business. Therefore, the business will be strangled and die. The lifeblood of any business is cash coming in. Now, that really ultimately means profit, not just revenue. But the first step is you've got to have the revenue coming in. Now, a person who is closer to the customer that you might not think of would be someone like an engineer. An engineer is closer to the customer than someone who is in human resources, let's say. And the reason for that is that the product is closer to the customer than human resources, which is inside the company and the employees. No matter how valuable the employees of the company, HR as a functionality is further away than an engineer, specifically the products that the engineer happens to be working on. So salesman or saleswoman, salesperson is closer to the customer, so they're paid more. Engineers are working on the product a little further away or even very far away from the customer, but still closer to the customer than, let's say, human resources. Okay? So you can think about how much money you make based on how close you are to the customer. Or there's a slight variation here. Instead of how close you are to the customer, what the impact you have on the customer is, right? So what is your impact on the customer? What I will say is that there are people that are doing customer service that are extraordinarily close to the customer. And the very best companies in the world take advantage of this. They're using customer service, the help desk, and so forth. They're using that as a profit center. They're using it by not only increasing retention and pleasing customers and surprising and delighting customers, but rather than just handling problems, they're also being very proactive. And you can look at what's being generated in the help desk and say, we have a problem, let's fix it, let's be proactive about it. Or even find new products inside the help desk. So when people are complaining about something, now it doesn't necessarily mean that they're complaining about the product, what the product does. They might say something like, I wish you had this. I wish the product did that. So it could be you, could be the product, could be the company. Boy, I wish your company would. So sometimes it gives you room to upsell, to cross-sell, to build new products, to launch new products, to bring in beta testers, to find those people who are most loyal to your business. You can even hire people. You can find people that are so loyal to you that it might make sense to bring them into your company. And you can do that by looking at customer service, customer support, help desk, and so on. This is a hidden gem, and this is hidden value. It's value that you wouldn't otherwise think about, like help desk, support. That makes no sense. It doesn't make any sense that there's value in something that is normally seen as handling refunds, being corrective, handling issues and problems that are pouring into the company, depending. But it can actually be flipped around and it becomes something like the obstacle is the way. The challenge is the path. That is the way to reach the customer in the most effective way, is looking at the problems, understanding the problems, solving the problems for your customers, and you can do it for them before they even know that they have that particular problem. If you're doing the right kind of data analytics, the right kind of thinking, It's actually very exciting. Who would have thought that the help desk could be something that would be, yeah, kind of exciting if you actually take the time and go, Zen calm. Let's take a look at what's going on with the value in the company hidden in the help desk. Now, that's just one example. As I said, going back to the Jeep example, you don't know what you don't know. So it behooves you to take advantage of things by asking questions. If I was going to say one thing that you could take away from this teaching, this training right here in this video, it would be ask questions. You can do surveys. You can ask one-to-one questions. You can do little mini focus groups. You can even talk to family and friends about certain kinds of situations and topics. And you can also do things that are very, very powerful. You can reward people for referrals. You can do things like bringing people in for beta test or early adopter types of testing and say, hey, we're going to be launching this soon. And since you're a loyal customer of ours, we'd like to bring you in and give you an opportunity to play around with this or try it or use it and give us your feedback. So it's a way of getting value out to the market before something hits the market, and then you can improve it even more so that when it hits the market, you have something of a catalyst automatically built in. The value is automatically built in. This is really profound when you think about it. We've done this many different times in the Rhodes Brothers business. And in fact, if you look in the description below, you will find one example of this, right? So you can find it. It's not hard. It's very easy to find, and we're practically giving it away. In fact, we might be giving it away, but that's down in the description below. All right, that's what I've got for today. Thank you for your time. In the next video, you will understand exactly what I'm talking about with value. You'll see it with your own two eyes. You should see that video pop up any moment now. Again, this is John S. Rhodes of the Rhodes Brothers. I do encourage you to like the video, also subscribe. It really does help the channel. And obviously send this along to someone who you think might get value from it, because it's from word of mouth referrals just like yours that everyone benefits and the channel grows and everything gets better and wonderful, and we do appreciate you. This is Greater Wealth Through Mastery. This is John S. Rhodes of the Rhodes Brothers, and we'll see you in the next video. Take care.